Have you ever, found yourself just wishing an AI could really understand you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
More than just keyword.
Exactly. Remember all the little things from a long chat? Or maybe even, I don't know, argue constructively with you?
Yeah, a proper back and forth.
Well, today we're doing a deep dive into something that might just get us closer. It's Sophimatics' Dialogic Semantic Engine.
Sounds intriguing.
Our mission here is to really unpack how this new hybrid AI model is trying to revolutionize how we interact with AI.
Going beyond the simple chatbots we're used to.
Right. We'll be looking at work from Gerardo and Giovanni Iovine at Sophimatics, plus some other key researchers in the field. We want to see how AI is learning to have, real dialogues, conversations that evolve.
And it's important to stress this isn't just about making responses faster or fancier.
No.
No, it's more fundamental. It's about making the AI's actual understanding of the conversation much deeper, more human-like.
Tackling the complexities that, let's face it, current systems just miss.
Completely miss, yeah.
Okay, let's unpack this then. This dialogic semantic engine. It's called a hybrid symbolic connectionist model. Now that sounds, well, technical, like smashing two different kinds of brains together.
Huh, that's actually not a bad way to put it. It really is about combining two different ways of, let's say, thinking.
Okay.
So the connectionist part, that's the neural networks. They're great at spotting patterns, kind of like intuition. Very flexible.
Right, learning from data.
Exactly. Then you've got the symbolic part. That brings in structured, rule-based logic. Think of it as explicit reasoning, clear rules.
So intuition plus logic.
Precisely. By blending them, the DSE aims to get the best of both. It can recognize those subtle nuances in language and apply strict logical rules when needed.
Has this kind of hybrid approach been tried before?
Oh yeah, it builds on some really insightful earlier work. For instance, Vermter and Leonard back in '89 had this 3-level network.
Okay.
And what was clever there, and what Sophimatics seemed to be leveraging, is the idea of processing language in layers. Yeah, it helps massively with ambiguity. You can understand the general idea, then the specifics. They got pretty impressive results even back then. Something like 88% correct interpretation on trained stuff, and still 77% on new situations.
Wow. So layering helps it generalize better.
Exactly.
All right.
And that's key for handling complex conversations that don't follow a neat script.
So we're moving beyond simple Q&A then. This is about understanding context, real context that actually changes as you talk.
Yes, that's the core idea. The DSE uses something called dialogue trees in its symbolic layer.
Dialogue trees, like a map of the conversation.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
A dynamic map. It tracks not just words, but the meaning, the semantic roles, who do what to whom, how things relate.
Okay.
And what's really fascinating is that this lets the system dynamically sort of reinstate and even modify the dialogue's meaning as it goes.
Modify it.
Yeah, if new information
Oh.
comes up or if a belief changes within the chat, the AI can adapt, it can challenge its own earlier interpretations. It's not rigid.
That's really different. It's actively keeping track and adjusting.
A very dynamic process, yes.
Okay, that makes sense for tracking the flow. But what about understanding us? Our, intentions, what we're actually trying to achieve in the conversation? That seems much harder.
It is harder.
Yeah.
And that brings up what Sophimatics calls the intentional bridge. It's a crucial concept.
The intentional bridge.
Okay. The DSE tries to formalize models of intentionality. It's not just about optimizing numbers like many AI systems do.
Right.
It's designed to directly infer your intentions, communicate about them, maybe even negotiate them a bit.
Negotiate intentions.
Well, in the sense of aligning its goals with yours, making sure its purpose fits with your preferences. It aims for real collaboration, not just task execution.
Where does that idea come from?
Well, it draws inspiration from things like inverse reinforcement learning or IRL. Jeha and Rushby wrote about this.
IRL. Inverse reinforcement learning.
Yeah. Instead of you telling the AI precisely what reward to aim for, IRL tries to figure out your underlying goals or values just by watching what you do, or in this case, what you say.
Ah, so it works backward from my behavior to guess my goal.
Exactly. And then it uses that insight to align its own behavior with what it thinks you actually want.
Yeah.
It's a shift from command and control to more of a partnership.
That is a profound shift. Okay, but if the AI is trying to understand my intent, what about transparency? How do I know it's understood correctly? And how does that build trust? Isn't there a risk it gets my intent wrong?
That's a really critical question, and the design specifically addresses this. The system is built to communicate its own intent transparently.
How does it do that?
It's not just like a static help file you can look up.
Right.
It's meant to be fully communicative. If you ask it why it reached a conclusion or how it interpreted something.
It explains itself.
Yes, and crucially, it's designed to support you in questioning that explanation.
Yeah.
You can challenge its reasoning.
So I can say, hang on, it's not quite right.
Exactly. And that back and forth is key for building trust, especially in sensitive situations. Think about social care or complex planning. Transparency becomes paramount.
Yeah.
It could really help AI adoption for, socially beneficial stuff.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, conversations, they get messy, right? Long, complicated. We jump around.
All the time.
We bring up something from way earlier. How does an AI like this possibly keep track of all that without getting completely lost? It's hard enough for humans.
True. That's where something called spatio-temporal relations comes in. Sophimatics is drawing on recent work here, like from Peng and others, using things like spatio-temporal convolutional neural networks, or STCNNs.
Spatio-temporal, space and time.
Exactly. It's about contextualizing every turn in the conversation, not just based on the immediately preceding turns, but across the entire history, the time dimension, and across the semantic space, the topic dimension.
So it remembers the whole chat, not just the last few lines.
Essentially, yes. It has these contextual memory modules. They integrate past exchanges, keeping track of both when things were said and what they meant in relation to other parts of the dialogue.
So it's not stuck in a linear flow. It can jump back.
Precisely. It can recall and even reinterpret things said much earlier in light of what's being said now. It might even predict where the conversation is heading based on distant connections.
It sounds like it has a really robust long-term memory for the conversation itself.
That's the idea. It's not just following a script or relying only on recent memory. It's built to handle that non-linear, jumpy nature of real dialogue. It tries to figure out what's actually relevant from the past for this perpetual negotiation of meaning, as Sophimatics puts it.
Perpetual negotiation of meaning. I like that phrase. So it's constantly updating its understanding based on everything that's happened.
Correct. And that's what potentially unlocks its use in really dynamic situations. Think about collaborative planning, where things change constantly. Or sustained interactions where there's a lot of uncertainty, maybe assisting someone with daily tasks over long periods, or helping navigate a crisis situation.
Situations where you need constant awareness and adaptation.
Exactly. Those demand a really high level of sort of perceptual awareness of how the dialogue itself is shifting.
Okay, that brings us to another tricky area. What happens when there's disagreement? Or maybe even an ethical conflict comes up in the conversation? Can the AI handle that? Can it disagree?
That's a core part of the design philosophy, actually, drawing on cognitive AI goals people like Bundy and others have talked about. It's designed for what they call adversarial dialogue and argumentation.
Adversarial. Sounds a bit confrontational.
It's not about picking fights. It's about giving the AI the capacity for self-critique, the ability to disagree constructively, to resolve conflicts when its understanding clashes with yours, to answer challenges to its reasoning, and crucially, to justify its own conclusions.
So it can defend its position.
Yes, but also revise it based on the argument. These are really vital components if you want to build robust human AI teams where you can actually trust the AI's reasoning, because it's not just a black box spitting out answers.
And the ethical side.
It also includes an ethically aware mechanism. This means it's designed to try and assess and even prioritize competing values if they come up. It goes beyond just checking compliance boxes.
How does that work in practice?
Well, the idea is that the AI can actually raise ethical questions or ask for clarification within the dialogue. It can engage you in a discussion about potential trade-offs.
So it involves the user in ethical reasoning.
Yes, which dramatically increases accountability. It's not making value judgments in isolation.
Okay, one last piece that sounds really interesting. The research mentions cognitive, conative, and emotional intentionality. Now, you said it doesn't feel emotions, so what does this mean? Is it faking them?
That's a really important distinction to make. No, it's absolutely not about the AI having human-like feelings. That's not the goal. This layer, which draws inspiration from some early cognitive science by folks like Burchin and Richardson, is about designing human-like dialogue dynamics. It's about making the interaction feel more natural and effective by simulating certain aspects of how we communicate.
Simulating. How?
They break it down. First, cognitive intentionality. That's about giving the AI a clear purpose or goal in the conversation, making it seem like it has an objective.
Right. Purposeful.
Second, conative intentionality. This is more about self-monitoring. Can the AI track how the conversation is going, how well it's doing its job, and adjust its approach?
Like course correction.
Exactly. And third, emotional intentionality. This is the trickiest one. It's not about the AI feeling emotion, but designing its responses to have an appropriate influence on you, the user, reading the room, essentially.
So sensing my state and adjusting its tone or approach accordingly.
Precisely. The system adapts to your intentions, yes, but it also gets feedback or is designed to interpret cues about cognitive and emotional states. Yours. Yes, yours. To try and stay alert, aware, and responsive to the effective context, the mood of the conversation, in real time. It's about being sensitive to your state to make the dialogue smoother and more productive, a more empathetic partner in a functional sense.
Wow, okay. So pulling this all together, what does this mean for you listening? This deep dive into Sophimatics, Dialogic's semantic engine, it really seems to redefine what we might expect from AI conversations down the line.
It definitely points towards something different.
It's not just about getting quick answers anymore, is it? It's about engaging in these dynamic, intentional, maybe even ethically aware dialogues.
Right. And if you connect this to the bigger picture, it suggests a future where AI isn't just a simple tool. It could be a genuinely sophisticated dialogue partner, one that remembers context, adapts to you, engages critically.
And understands motivations, potentially.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
That could make the technology feel much more trustworthy, better integrated into complex parts of our lives, especially for socially beneficial goals.
We've really unpacked a lot here, how AI is being designed to grasp intentions, remember conversations over the long haul, even handle arguments constructively.
It's a complex architecture aiming for a much richer interaction.
So for you, our listener, maybe here's a final thought to chew on. If AI can really learn to navigate these complex conversations with this kind of depth, if it can justify its positions, understand our shifting goals, maybe even sense our emotional state, what new possibilities does that open up?
What kind of collaboration becomes possible?
Exactly. What problems could we solve with machines that finally truly seem to get us?
A fascinating question for the future.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.